too. Come shine or rain, wave the flag, pop the bag, rock the boat, skin the goat. Wave that flag, wave it wide. Summertime love, come and gone right on by. I'm Uncle Sam, that's who I
Can't shake it.
I'll try full retro.
It's no go. Still with us. Getting closer.
Well, then there's just one other chance. Full forward thrust. We've got to try to build up enough inertial drive to swing over it.
Full forward thrust.
Mid-opener. Oh, now you're going to get sappy. Whoa, whoa, whoa! Put on the brakes, put on the brakes. Welcome, welcome, boys and girls, children of all ages, hoofties, poofties, bong-eyed heifers, right and left wing wackos, woodchucks and chuckettes, kings and queens of the Northeast Kingdom, woodchucks and chuckettes, and little dogs too, to another version of It's News to Us. Yes. Have you got anything to say for yourself this week?
Woof.
Woof. What's on the top of the building? A roof. Okay. Is that it? I love you too. Now, go. You got your own camera. Go around. Go around. Hey, no, not that way. Stage left. Go. 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 Go on. There he is. Come on. You got your own camera. Now do something good. Come on. No, don't hide. Oh, God.
His face is still sticking out, Steve.
That's it? That's the best you can do?
Now he'll fall asleep.
Oh, yeah. I fall asleep, wake up at the last minute. Anyways, in the booth we have Philo T. Farnsworth, the College of Musical Knowledge, doing our engineering for us. And he's all perked up and ready to go. He's got brand new ball joints, right and left side. And so he's ready to hit the road. And you are watching It's News to Us, where Newport's oldest TV news watches new. Hew new brown Q, as the locals say. But adult themes in language, you're advised. Not really. Oh, and we got some good, we got a cut of Whispering Joe Biden. Like Philo was saying, this country is now officially a geriocracy. I mean, everybody, I mean, is almost 80, pushing 80, and I mean, the only one that's still on the ball is Bernie, from what I can see.
Yeah, he's 78 or 79, but he's the only one that can put a sentence together.
Yeah, he's still there. I mean, Pelosi's toast. Biden's completely toast, as you'll see with him whispering into the microphone, "I'm the one who got you the money." But where are the Bronze Age invisible sky guards going to beat you and forgive you and beat you? Defund the police? No, I don't think so. We're going to defend the cops, because when you're sitting there in a heap of smoking twisted steel, on the side of the road into a big maple tree. You'll be happy to see the first responders. And, for all the woke folks, my name is Biju Biju. My pronouns are G and Jim. I'm also a birthing person, too, that can chest feed. When you hear stuff like this, you just laugh at them. Just look at them and laugh at them, because if we don't allow them to take over language, they won't be able to take over the language. And they won't be able to take over. It's as simple as that.
Yep, getting pretty pathetic, isn't it?
Oh, dude.
There was a day when wimps, twerps, and pencil neck geeks, you look back now and you wish they were back, because the cupcakes and the snowflakes and the Twinkies are 10 times worse.
Oh, man. I was watching a Man on the Street interview. Oh, and some video just came out from San Francisco where this unarmed gang of marauding Negroes had did a smash and grab at Neiman Marcus. And they got away with all these name brand purses and accessories and stuff like that they're going to sell on the black market. And Target and all these other pharmacies and stuff like that are closing early because, see, this is what happens. They've got these idiots for district attorneys. They're elected, and they said, well, we're going to cut down, we're going to make shoplifting a misdemeanor. So everything under $900 is a misdemeanor. So the cops don't even bother arresting anybody because they let them right back out on the street anyways. And so you've got people just running into stores and running out with the stuff, No, you can't do that with property. They should just allow people to shoot looters. It's just as simple as that. It's the only way to stop it. Otherwise, society breaks down, civil society breaks down, and it's already it's a shame. You can't go into New York City. It's nuts. I mean, in Chicago, what was it? 70, 80 people this weekend Philo shot.
Oh yeah, that's become the murder capital of the U.S. now.
Yeah, Chirac.
Yep.
But anyways, for the past few weeks, we've been talking about the pullout from Afghanistan. And we got that this week, too. But I remembered this thing from Winston Churchill's biography. And this is it right here, My Early Life by Winston Churchill, wherein he describes in chapter 11, he describes his time fighting in the Mamoon Valley, which is right next to the Khyber Pass on the border with India and Afghanistan. And he describes the locals this way, okay? Campaigning on the Indian frontier and his experience by itself, neither the landscape nor the people find their counterparts in any other portion of the globe. Valley walls rise steeply, 5,000 or 6,000 feet on every side. The columns crawl through a maze of giant corridors down which fierce snow-fed torrents foam under skies of brass. Amid these scenes of savage brilliancy, there dwells a race whose qualities seem to harmonize with their environment. Except at harvest time, when self-preservation enjoys a temporary truce, the Pathan tribes are always engaged in a private or public war. Every man is a warrior, a politician, and a theologian. They're Muslims, of course. Every large house is a real feudal fortress made, it is true, only of sun-baked clay, but with battlements, turrets, loopholes, flanking towers, drawbridges, etc., complete. Every village has its defense. Every family cultivates its vendetta. Every clan, its feud. The numerous tribes and combination of tribes all have their accounts to settle with one another. Nothing is ever forgotten, and very few debts are left unpaid. For the purposes of social life, in addition to the convention about harvest time, a most elaborate code of honor has been established and the whole faithfully observed. A man who knew it and observed it faultlessly might pass unarmed from one end of the frontier to another. But the slightest technical slip would, however, be fatal. The life of the Pathan is thus full of interest, and his valleys, nourished alike by an endless sunshine and abundant water, are fertile enough to yield with little labor the modest material requirements of a sparse population. Into this happy world, the 19th century brought two new facts: the breech-loading rifle and the British government.
Which one was worse?
Yeah. The first was an enormous luxury and blessing. The second, an unmitigated nuisance. The convenience of the breech loading, and still more of the magazine rifle, was nowhere more appreciated than in the Indian Highlands. A weapon which would kill with accuracy at 1,500 yards opened a whole new vista of delights to every family or clan which could acquire it. One could actually remain in their own house and fire at their neighbor nearly a mile away. One could lie in wait on some high crag, and hitherto unheard of ranges hit a horseman far below. Even villages could fire at each other without the trouble of going far from home. Fabulous prizes were therefore offered for these glorious products of science. Rifle thieves scoured all India to reinforce the efforts of the honest smuggler. A steady flow of the coveted weapons spread its genial influence throughout the frontier, and the respect which the Pathan tribesmen entertained for the Christian civilization was vastly enhanced. The action of the British government, on the other hand, was entirely unsatisfactory. And I won't go into that because anybody knows that the British government, coupled with an Indian bureaucracy, made for a friggin' nightmare, okay?
Called a fabulous disaster.
Complete disaster, which we're now seeing as, to the Hindus, cows are sacred. So the Hindus, some of them are recommending as a cure for COVID-19, cow dung and urine. And also, I think I sent you this article too about them using, they're giving out saline as fake injections, fake COVID vaccinations. But anyways, the border's going crazy. We've had over 250,000, 250,000 illegals have evaded capture, okay, so far. Up 542% from last year. Okay, and these are 542% increase in convicted sex offenders have been arrested at the border. 353 illegal aliens with criminal convictions so far this year. You know how much it was in 2019, Philo?
Just a fraction.
58. In 2020, 55. In 2021, so far, we're only halfway through the year, we're up to 353, and that's just the sex offenders, the convicted ones. We'll get to that later.
That's all right. Vermont can manufacture some more if you need more.
Yeah.
I've watched the state of Vermont manufacture sex offenders where there were none.
Yeah. It was terrible. And I mean, there are enough of them out there, true ones, that we don't need to go hunting and framing people, you know what I mean?
I saw it twice when I worked at the prison.
It's horrible because it's something you cannot get out from under once you've been tarred with that brush. Oh, and here we are. Just reinforce the fear day after day. I've got a handful of them. Thanks, Philo. The variants are coming, like Paul Revere. Yet there's no evidence that they're any more lethal, Philo.
Even with a vaccine, it's supposed to be even less lethal.
Oh, and get this. It's an Israeli study that just came out, right? And camera 2. The Israeli study, the Israeli study showed that the Pfizer vaccine is only 60% effective after, 6 or 8 months.
They're going to want you to get the booster anyway.
Oh, you know it's coming. But anyways, here we are. Travel quarantines, lockdowns reinstated. And it goes on and on. The Delta variant is positioned to take full advantage of those chunks in the country's armor. Widespread vaccination remains even more critical. Yada, yada, yada. But way down in the back of the article, like I say, you always have to read it from back to front, it seems. Way at the back of the article, it says, is it more dangerous, ? It's harder to tell if the Delta variant makes people sicker. British experts have said there's preliminary signs it may increase hospitalization, but there is no evidence that it's more lethal. He cautioned that the explosion of cases doesn't narrowly mean this version is more dangerous, as more cases usually means more hospitalization. Not always, though, of course. And here we are.
Of all the people that I know that have caught the thing, I only know of 2 or 3 that actually ended up in the hospital.
Yeah, most people get it and shake it off.
Yep, that's true.
And if you go to the CDC's website and look at the average age of the CFR, the confirmed fatality rate, you look at the average age of the people who died, and they are 5 to 10 to 15 years older than the average life expectancy of the U.S. citizen, which is like 73.
So if you're 88, watch out.
But they don't tell you that. Oh,
No.
They won't tell you that. Many question the World Health Organization leading the pandemic probe. Oh, you think? You think? And the Boy Scouts supposedly settled too. I'm in that lawsuit, just for full disclosure. But they both suck, okay? They both suck. Let's see. Peking. This is by Maria Cheng and Dake Kang. Dake, like cake with a D, Philo.
All right, I guess so.
Dake Kang. Or Cake Dang, I don't know, something like that. As the World Health Organization draws up its plans for the next phase of its investigation of how it started, an increasing number of scientists said the UN agency isn't up to the task and shouldn't be the one to investigate. Oh, you think? Oh, we always let the foxes count the chickens, right, Philo?
Well, it seems that way.
And like we've said, reported earlier, that, the world, the CDC and the NIH, they've already scrubbed the genetic sequence from the website at the behest of the Chinese, who weaponized and started this whole thing. By Fauci, who used a loophole to, when it was illegal to play with the fire here, Fauci okayed the money to go to Peter Daszak and whatever his company is there, and Eco Health Alliance, and then, they used the back door to get around and did the research in China. And lo and behold, it escaped from China. Maybe or maybe not intentionally. We will never know. We already have a couple of Chinese defectors who say that it was intentional, that the Chinese military let it loose because they were working on their own vaccine. I mean, how sick is that? Yet we did the same thing in the 1950s and 60s. We had experiments with germ warfare, anthrax, LSD, you name it, man.
And nuclear and radiation.
Radiation?
They set off a bomb and then they send the troops in afterwards to study the effects.
Yeah, speaking of which, Elvis Stephen King was allowed to go to the Bikini Atoll one time.
No kidding.
Yeah, when he was in the Navy, so he says.
Huh. Wow.
Gostin said, let's see, here we are. Because the WHO works by persuasion, it lacks the power to compel China to cooperate. Gostin said the U.S. and other countries can either try to piece together what intel they have, revise international health laws to give the WHO the power it needs, or create some new entity to investigate. I would say we have enough entities right here, okay? All we got to do is look at the intelligence that we got. Our State Department was screaming about this in like 2016, 2017, saying, look, these people are off the hook. And Trump heard about it, and when they briefed him, and he canceled all funding to that lab. But, as usual, Trump was right. And here we are, Richard Ebright, a molecular biologist. Now, this is how I found this guy's stuff, because he was like Paul Revere, warning about this stuff way back when. Ebright, a molecular biologist at Rutgers, called it a farce and said that determining whether the virus jumped from animals or escaped from a lab is more than a scientific question and has political dimensions beyond the WHO's expertise. The closest genetic relative to the virus was previously discovered in a 2012 outbreak after 6 miners fell sick with pneumonia after being exposed to infected bats in China's Mojiang mine. In the past year, Chinese authorities have sealed off the mine and confiscated samples from scientists while ordering locals not to talk to anybody. Now, I have an article about that in here, which is the, what do you call this? They call this thing, the Epoch Times. This is from This is put out by the Chinese defectors. These are Chinese people who, thanks Philo, who defected from communism. They have a great website too. It's free. You can log on and get access to all these articles yourself. But anyways, scientists obfuscated the source of a virus stored at the Wuhan lab. Xi Jinping, the bat lady, the director of the Wuhan Institute, is the common thread through all these gain of functions are connected. Her work shows a curious pattern of deception, tracing through her publications from 2013 to 2020, a key source for the virus most closely related to COVID-19 was concealed. In 2002, an outbreak of SARS resulted in the deaths of 774 people worldwide, and they quickly established that it was spread from bats to civets. Okay? Now, there's a timeline in here and everything, and you can go to their website, like I said, and look it up. This woman, it's just insane, okay? And it details how in December of '07, she published a paper that showed how viruses could be manipulated to infect and attack human cells using an HIV-based pseudovirus. Huh. Now, remember I told you about how I looked up the patent for the Moderna vaccine, and I found in section 26, paragraph 40 or something like that, 26 or 28, where they were using HIV, which is AIDS, and HCV, which is Hep C. They were using parts of both of those viruses to make their little witch's brew that everybody's got injected with. So she did this in '07, and this was funded by the Chinese Academy of Sciences. They found that the alteration of several key residues either decreased or enhanced the bat ACE2 receptor efficiency. The ACE2 receptors are the ones in your lungs that let them in. In 2011 and 2012, her and her team conducted a 12-month longitudinal survey, a colony of horseshoe bats in Kunming City in Yunnan, China. The single location was called the Shitou Cave. I kid you not, Philo. This is how it's spelled. Shitou.
Huh.
The Shitou Cave.
I bet they did a lot of that.
Yeah, there was a lot of bat Shitou in there too. While Bat Lady and her team were conducting their survey, an unrelated group of 6 workers began clearing bat crap from a copper mine shaft in Mojiang, Yunnan. This is the one we just mentioned here. Okay, about 200 miles away from her group. In 2012, 6 workers became seriously ill from a pneumonia-like disease that resulted in the deaths of more than 3 of them. Notably, all the public reports stated that the mine shaft was abandoned, but none of the reports explained why the 6 miners were there to clean the shaft out, because they were looking for novel viruses for the Bat Lady. For the Bat Lady and her team to play with, okay? This is what these people love to do. It doesn't matter they're playing with fire and that they could endanger the whole human race. They don't care. This is what they live for.
Well, what their excuse is, they're studying it to see that they can make vaccines, but what they're really doing is they are playing with fire.
Yeah, we're going to make vaccines for a disease that we'll create.
Exactly.
And the pharmaceutical companies will get to make a fortune. It's insane. But the shots will be free, right, Philo?
Well, you know what? I got the last COVID test that I had, well, not the last one, but the one that I had to take in December to get my carpal tunnel surgery.
Yep.
I just got a bill for $5.20. You know how much they billed insurance for it? $1,400.
Outrageous.
They billed, and I have to pay $5.20, and I don't even understand why.
Unbelievable. So it gets better. She and Bat Lady and her team abruptly shifted their focus and location and spent the next 2 years collecting samples from bats from that mine in the Mojiang location. A virus allegedly found in one that was later revealed to be the closest known match to COVID-19. The finding of this particular sample appears to have been like finding a needle in a haystack. Although the location turned up vast amounts of viruses, only one of them resembled SARS and was found in a single fecal sample. They named that virus RABT-CoV-4991. Peter Daszak, again, our buddy, the president of EcoHealth Alliance, confirmed the finding to the Sunday Times. Now, mind you, this was back in 2012, okay? It isn't known whether he used fundings from the NIH to provide the Wuhan with grants to research, or he was present at the mine site. But he's a co-author of a paper that described the group's findings, and he's Fauci's little buddy. And we found out the emails between him and Fauci, most of them have been redacted, so they scrubbed, you can't even tell what's on them. It's like, call me right away. And Daszak telling Fauci, I'm so glad you went out and said that it, couldn't come from the lab to cover my butt. And so anyways, Bat Lady's conflicting articles. In October 2013, written by her and Daszak, highlighted the first ever isolation and characterization of a bat SARS-like coronavirus that used the ACE2 receptor. Their paper noted that the results provide the strongest evidence to date that the horseshoe bats are natural reservoirs of SARS-CoV, and the intermediate host may not be necessary for direct human infection by some bat CoVs. In other words, their 2013 paper specifically noted the possibility of direct transmission from bats to humans, and it gets better. But it's all been covered up. I'm telling you, they're just insane. And here's a picture of Bat Lady right here. Now, mind you, look at this picture, and you tell me what that is on the ceiling, Philo.
Looks like a cross.
It's a camera.
A camera?
The whole laboratory is cameraed up, dude.
Wow.
So in case there's any problems or anything, they can go back to the video and find out what happened. And there's Bat Lady right there. And it's funny, we don't have any of the viruses or any video or nothing, yet there's cameras on every friggin' corner of the building. And Fauci is up to his neck in it. I'm telling you, it's just insane. And there's some other good stories in here too. Let's see. Oh man. Johnson & Johnson agreed to pay $230 million for the opioid thing. Facebook can be sued for sex trafficking, Texas Supreme Court rules. It's just nuts. Just insane. And here we are. Setbacks coming into focus with the test results. Schools report declines in reading and math. Oh, not to mention the problems with all the businesses that got shut down. And we should blame Fauci and the teachers union thugs, okay? And these tin horn dictator governors like ours and our health guy, Dr. Levine, Mr. Rubberface Comb-Over. They knew that the kids were unaffected, yet they still closed the schools. And the vaccines had started last November. They could have had every kid back in school by January, but no. But the good thing out of this remote learning crap is that the parents got to see exactly what their kids were being taught. And man, things are never going to be the same, okay?
Well, I saw a funny one on Facebook. I don't know how true it is.
Yeah.
But Biden came out with a statement that said he's going to go door to door until everybody gets vaccinated.
Oh, yeah, yesterday, yeah.
Does that old fool think he's actually going to travel more than 10 miles?
Yeah, it's going to be the Biden's witnesses, Philo.
Oh, my gosh. Shoot me now, will you please?
Yeah, the Biden's witnesses are knocking at your door, honey. We'll have to hide under the bed like the old witnesses.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, he's insane. We can see it. Hopefully, Philo will be able to put in his whispering clip in the show today.
Oh, we'll get it in somehow.
Yeah. Anyways, it goes on and on. Underscore the need for a strong return to in-person learning this fall. Oh, after you lost a whole year. Jeez. The only difference between the teachers union and the thugs they had working the docks and everything else is a pinky ring. That's the only difference. And here we are. Shots not likely before school. This push to vaccinate kids. Go on the CDC website and look at the VARES, the vaccine, the report of adverse events, the Vaccine Adverse Events Reporting Site, VARES. And I'm telling you, there's thousands and thousands of these kids that are coming down with heart problems because, and they don't, if they do get it, they have a 0.08 percent chance of getting sick, Philo.
Yep, we got to, somebody's making a whole lot of money on this, and it's rather obvious now.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And here's the fear on the bottom with a picture of Biden and his aviator sunglasses waving. No holiday from COVID. This is from Monday, July 5th. My birthday, by the way. Happy birthday to me.
Hey, if you're on Facebook, I can wish you a happy birthday.
I'm Uncle Sam, man. That's who I am. Been hiding out in a rock and roll band. Anyways, President Joe Biden was determined to party on the 4th of July. The White House encouraged gatherings and fireworks nationwide to mark the independence from the pandemic. There is much to cheer. Cases and deaths are at near record lows. Yeah, thanks, Trump. Thank you, Mr. Trump. And Warp Speed. I mean, the most stupid name you could come up with, but it worked. The guy was bad at naming stuff. But anyways.
He should have had a linguist help him with his stuff, because he definitely, he just didn't have it.
Yeah. Anyways, here we are. Crowdfunding can lift small businesses. Well, you know what? The small businesses that got put out of business should get together and sue in a class action, sue the damn governors that shut this crap down. I mean, the smart governors like Kristi Noem in South Dakota never shut down, and the other ones like Ron DeSantis in Florida, who is a Yale graduate, he looked at the science and he said, get those kids back to school and just isolate the old people, vaccinate them first, and then, screw it. Let people live normally. And remember, and the same in Texas. And what did Biden call them? He said they were like insane or something.
Oh, it was funnier than that, and I wish I could remember what it was. He had a name for them. Neanderthals, wasn't
Neanderthals, exactly.
Yes.
Thanks, Philo.
I think that's what he said. And I don't understand that. I mean, I don't think that the kettle should be calling the pot black.
Yeah, Neanderthal thinking. That's exactly what it was.
Yep.
Here we are. Records show that Trump and allies pressured Arizona officials. Well, they're finding this stuff out, man. They're doing an audit in Arizona. And, if the election was so legal, what's the problem with looking at, doing an audit? If it was all on the up and up, then let's do an audit and show that it's on the up and up. What's the hell? It would reinstill confidence in the voting, in the electorate.
The problem is not the voting. The problem is who's counting the votes.
Exactly. The problem is who has access to the programs of the machines that count the ballot, too.
Yep. So
and
if you got a right winger, he's gonna slant it his way, and a left winger is gonna slant it their way. So you're screwed either way, Steve.
They have to be disconnected from the internet, and they have to have a paper ballot backup. It's just as simple as that. The Canadians have it, right? We should too. And here we are. Liz Cheney named to the January 16th panel. She said it was more dangerous than 1814. Yeah.
Oh, sure, right.
Yeah, a bunch of old people, a bunch of Q-tips in the lobby taking selfies of each other in the rotunda, and that is the equivalent to having Puerto Rican terrorists shoot the place up in the 50s or having the weathermen bomb it in the 70s. Oh, sure. And so they're going after Trump. It's like Moby Dick, man. Cyrus Vance, the guy who would not prosecute Weinstein, when this girl came forward with video showing that she was attacked and molested by Harvey Weinstein, this Vance guy, Cy Vance Jr., he wouldn't bother. He wouldn't bother with his buddy Weinstein. Oh, he's rich and powerful. But they're going after Trump like he was the great white whale, man. Like their Captain Ahab. And here we are. Trump Organization CFO enters a not guilty plea. He hadn't paid a tax on $1.7 million in benefits, supposedly spread over 20 years. It works out to like less than $1,000 a month. And everybody who has failed to report that usually gets a fine. Nobody gets charged criminally except for the Trump organization. Isn't that funny? Unbelievable. And here we are, right after Camelback Harris. Mac, can we get you anything? A pillow, maybe?
He looks so zonked out.
He's getting older. Right after Camelback Harris goes down to Guatemala and avoided El Salvador for some reason, get this. U.S. publishes list of corrupt officials in Central America. The U.S. State Department from Guatemala City, named more than 50 current and former officials, including former presidents and active lawmakers, suspected of corruption or undermining democracy in Guatemala, Honduras, and El Salvador. Among the most prominent figures on the list are former Honduras President Jose Porfirio Pepe Lobo Sosa, and former First Lady Rosa Elena Bonillo de Lobo. Now, what does Lobo mean in Spanish, Philo?
I forgot.
Wolf.
Yeah, I thought we were going to say dog, but wolf is better.
Yeah, Los Lobos, the wolves. The State Department report says that Lobo Sosa took bribes from a drug cartel and his wife was involved in fraud and misappropriation of funds. Oh, say it ain't so. Why do you think Trump stopped sending them foreign aid, okay? Because it all goes to their little Swiss bank accounts. And okay, this is the last one on this one. Closed Capitol, a somber July 4th backdrop by Lisa Mascaro. Oh my, deadly, with new threats, Philo. And Nancy Pelosi is talking about setting up Capitol Commission offices all over the country to monitor white extremists and white nationalists, Philo. Did you hear about that one?
No, thank goodness I'm not white.
Oh, man, me too. It's like, years ago, the Dies Committee, Martin Dies, who was a congressman from Texas, he set up a committee called the Dies Committee, otherwise known as the House Un-American Activities Committee, okay? In the 30s to go after communists. And one of the guys from the papers asked him, I think it was that guy from St. Louis. God, why can't I remember his name? Anyways, he asked Martin Dies about, because Martin Dies wanted to set up HUAC offices in all cities in the country, like the FBI. And they said, well, why would you want to do that? And he says, what good is having a secret police unless they have the power of life and death? And it's the same thing here. Listen to this. These leaders are working intensely, and Republicans who refuse to be vaccinated. It's a necessary deterrent, and they fled to safety. And AOC said she's seeing a counselor, Philo, for that January 6th thing, and she wasn't even in the building, dude. She was like 4 or 5 blocks away in a completely different building. Yet she was so terrorized that she's seeing a counselor now.
You mean she was in Building 7?
Yeah, really. I'm going to start calling her KOC. For the Karen of Congress.
Kentucky Fried Chicken.
Yeah, here we are. Listen to this hyperbole. The 1-2 punch of the coronavirus that shuttered the Capitol's doors in the spring and the deadly insurrection by Trump supporters left the icon of American democracy closed to all but a select few. The People's House faces new threats of violence, virus variants, and a more difficult moment. Let's see, blah, 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 blah. Congressional leaders are working to resume public tours. They just did in Montpelier. I saw this black lady. She was made up, just perfectly. Her makeup was perfect. And she was there with her 2 daughters. They come from Texas. They're visiting every state house in the country, Philo. Mm-hmm. Yeah, 2 teenage daughters with her. She was just as cool as can be. She said, "It's a great place. I like it up here, It's like, yeah, we kind of like it too, honey." Congressional leaders are working intensely to resume public tours in some form, but any reopening will come with new protocols for health and safety for the millions of visitors, 535 lawmakers, and thousands of staff and crew that work under the dome. And the House lawmakers have been operating under a proxy voting system. They'll most vote in person now. The smaller Senate is mostly back to in person. The fencing's coming down. The conversations in public and private, the conversations. Don't you love that, Philo?
Wow.
We're going to have a conversation about this.
We're not going to talk it out.
Uh-huh.
We're not going to discuss anything. We're going to have a conversation.
We're not going to debate it.
Nope.
Nope, we're going to have a conversation.
We're not going to have a chair throwing contest, which would actually be kind of fun.
The conversations in public and private over how to safely reopen are shifting as dangerous strains emerge, and federal law enforcement officials issue new warnings about the potential for violence from right-wing extremist groups and those who believe in conspiracies. White nationalists and other far-right groups loyal to Trump stormed the Capitol on January 16th to among trying to overturn Biden's victory. Okay, here's the thing. You want to get to the bottom of this? Release the 14,000 hours of video you have, okay? Tell us how many people that were in that crowd are affiliated with any FBI or law enforcement groups that were working undercover or agitating the crowd. So release it. Tell us who shot Ashley Babbitt, an unarmed woman, okay? Release the video, show us what happened, and let's get to the bottom of it. What's the problem? What's the holdup, man?
The only thing that I saw was the same clip that CNN kept showing over and over and over again.
Yeah, and that poor black kid, John Sullivan, who went under the nom de plume Jaden X, he got paid $70,000 by CNN for all his footage, and then the government came in 2 weeks later and confiscated the $70,000, and I guess CNN still got rights to the video, right?
Why'd they confiscate his money?
Because he had skipped conditions. He was arrested for rioting last summer in Utah, and he was like out on conditions or something when he attended the Capitol riot, and he's charged with smashing windows and stuff in one of the congressional offices. And he videoed himself smashing stuff.
What an idiot.
I'm smart, I am. I'm John Sullivan.
What an idiot. My goodness.
Oh, yeah. I want people to feel proud they can come to the Capitol and they can talk about its rich history. Lawmakers have struggled over the past year with their own mixed emotions over the shuttered doors, wary of returning to the Capitol where a segment of their colleagues, mainly Republicans, refuse to be vaccinated against the coronavirus. Well, if you're vaccinated and you want to wear a mask, what have you got to worry about? You're vaccinated. You're immune. You idiots. Refuse to be vaccinated. 2 elected officials have died of COVID-19 complications. While many lawmakers say they're saddened by the black security fencing and all it represents, some also view it as a necessary deterrent after having fled to safety from the rioters. That's insane. Undersea gas pipeline rupture causes fire in the Gulf of Mexico. Did you see that fireworks display, Philo?
I did not see that.
Oh, it was burning underwater, and on top it was like a gasoline Alka-Seltzer, dude. It was unbelievable. You should see the footage. And the platform is called Ku-Maloob Zop Field. Ku-Maloob-Zaab. P. Ku-Maloob Zap. Sounds like something you get after eating Mexican food, Philo.
Oh, you're telling me.
Yeah, I got the Ku-Maloob Zap one time, mister. And here we are. Records, evidence from the January 6th riot are being deleted. Well, you can't delete evidence if you know you're not being charged with anything. Unbelievable. Oh, they sold a copy of the Declaration of Independence on parchment. that they found, it was ordered by John Quincy Adams 20 years later, after the original one, in 1820, so it's later even. It's one of 52 known survivors on parchment. This one was found in the attic of an old Scottish house, sold for $4.4 million to an anonymous buyer, Philo.
Wow.
Yeah. And here we are. Corporate vows after riot fall flat. They're bitching because these companies said that after that January 20th insurrection or riot or whatever, we're not going to give any money to the Republicans again, right? Well, come on, man. These people ought to, thanks, Philo. These people ought to wear NASCAR uniforms with patches of their sponsors. So sure enough, man, after the dust died down, the companies are giving money again, too. And they call it, these pledges are largely symbolic, they said. Oh, yeah. Walmart's moral stand lasted 3 months. Walmart has morals? Don't you people get it? Here's the thing, okay? I think it was a lawsuit where the Dodge brothers versus Henry Ford or something like that from the 1920s, Philo,
Yeah.
where they sued the Ford company, and it was went all the way to the Supreme Court, I'm pretty sure, and the Supreme Court decided that the sole purpose of a corporation was to make money for the shareholders, period. Everything else was like neither here nor there. So, that's it. That's their sole purpose. And I love these editorials. The companies contend that donating directly to candidates is not the same as giving to a PAC that supports them. Giving America's poorest campaign finance laws, that's a distinction without a difference to campaign finance experts. That's not an editorial. Oh no, that's straight up news. Anyways, so they're going after Walmart, Pfizer, General Electric.
Now, you might as well call it what it really is. Why don't you just say wall hog?
Graft, yeah, Walmart, that's what I call it.
I call them wall hogs. They want to gobble up everything.
Yeah. Here we are. There was a control group of 1,250 college-bound kids by the Intelligent.com, and they said that the 2020 lockdowns have shifted the kids' college plans, Philo.
No kidding.
A survey of 1,250 people, that's not a very big control group. And they said, here's what they found. Areas that have greater than a 50% increase were precision products, trades, that's like being a machinist or a fabricator, right? Library science, military technologies and applied sciences, legal professions and studies, architecture and related services, and here's a good one. Oh, this is going to get you a real high-paying job. Area, ethnic, cultural, gender, and group studies. Those gender study degrees are worth a fortune.
Yeah, imagine where they get to look. I got to study your gender.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like Bathroom Billy wants to see your willy.
Goodness gracious. Mercy.
Communication technologies, engineering technologies, agriculture and natural resources, transportation and materials moving, philosophy and religious studies. Well, I guess we always need pastors, right, Philo?
I don't know what for.
Yeah, and here's the ones with the 50% decrease. Liberal arts and sciences, general studies and humanities. 2, English language and literature. 3, communication, journalism, and related programs. Yeah, because it's not who you know, it's who you worked for. Look at George Stephanopoulos and Chuck Maynard G. Krebs Todd. And
George Steppen Fetch-a-lot.
yeah, those guys, they all work for Democrats on the Hill or as presidents, and then they get a job, a cushy job working for the networks. Public administration and social services, multi and interdisciplinary studies, parks, recreation, leisure, and fitness, social sciences, and history. Those are the ones that experience the decrease. Lovely. Oh, and here we are. I got a whole bunch on race relations, man. Oh, and here we go. Good grief, man. these are the ones. Afghan bailout, right? Okay, first one. U.S. military puts Bagram back in Afghan hands. And this is just a basic article covering.
Oh, he's stretching. Look at, I got him.
Well, he's doing something, thank God. Camera 2.
Yep.
Thanks, Philo.
I actually got him doing something.
Are you going to do something, you old fool? Here's your generic article about leaving. Okay, this was the first one. Thanks, Philo. This is from July 3rd. So anyways, that's the first one. And then the second one here. European troops exit Afghanistan, okay, because nobody will leave the ship faster than the cheese-eating surrender monkeys at NATO, right, Philo?
Yep.
Yeah, the French, the Belgian, the dope-smoking Dutch. So they left, okay? And then here's the one from today, where we screwed at night, leaving hundreds of armored vehicles. U.S. troops exit quietly from the Afghan base. And they left, Philo. Camera 2, please. They left, and they were gone. They were gone for 2 hours before they even called up the Afghans and said, hey, we're gone, right? Thanks. They shut off the power and everything. Hey, Mac. I'm sorry, did I wake you? We're going to be ending the show pretty soon.
Now he's going to hide on us.
Yeah, now you can come sit with me till the end. Yeah, here we are. We heard some rumor that the Americans had left, and finally by 7 a.m. we understood it was confirmed that they had already left, said General Mir Azadullah Kohestani, Bagram's new commander. U.S. Mill spokesman Sonny Leggett did not address the specific complaints from the Afghans who inherited the abandoned airfield, instead referring to a statement last week. Let's see. And they left, there was 5,000 prisoners in a jail there, Philo. Did you know that?
Didn't know that.
Good grief, man. What is this, Abu Ghraib all over again?
Probably.
No wonder they screwed.
You know what I don't understand is why they picked on that poor Lindsay London and some
Yeah.
of those other grunts, and they didn't go after the generals who ordered that to happen.
You think? Let's see. The Americans had coordinated their departures with the leaders. Oh, sure they did. Before they could take control of the airfield, it was invaded by a small army of looters who ransacked barrack after barrack and rummaged through the giant storage tents. At first, maybe, we thought they were Taliban. He said the U.S. called from the Kabul airport and said, "We're here at the airport in Kabul." He insisted the Afghans and Defense Force would hold on to the heavily fortified base despite a string of Taliban wins on the battlefield. The airfield also, of course, includes a prison with about 5,000 prisoners, and many of them allegedly Taliban. And supposedly, U.S. soldiers are going to remain until they're protecting the Kabul Hamid Karzai International Airport, which is expected to be protected by Turkey when it's completed. The U.S. left behind 3.5 million items, tens of thousands of bottles of water, energy drinks, and MREs. And the big ticket items left behind include thousands of civilian vehicles and hundreds of armored vehicles. Okay, then. And here we are. Journalist declines tenure at UNC and heads to Howard University. They wouldn't give her tenure. It wasn't because she was black. It wasn't because her stupid 1619 project was riddled with holes and blown out of the water by peer-reviewed historians. It was because she didn't have a PhD. You can't teach college without a PhD, right, Philo?
Well, you can do it with a master's in some colleges, yes.
Oh, yeah, but not a place like UNC.
Probably not. I mean, Dartmouth, for example, I think 85 or 90% of their professors have PhDs.
Yeah.
Or EDDs, but there are some that have masters that do teach there.
It depends on how much they need you.
Yep, that's right.
So anyways, Hannah Minus Jones will join with Ta-Nehisi Coates, an award-winning author known for his work on race at Howard University. which announced his appointment to the Sterling Brown Chair in the English Department and writer-in-residence of the College of Arts and Sciences. Have you ever read anything by Ta-Nehisi Coates, Philo?
Never even heard of it.
I think he dropped out in like 10th grade or something. And he's a horrible writer. He's just terrible. He talks about all these black bodies and how bad Whitey is, and it's just insane. The run-on sentences, and it's like, my God, these people, some of them, get down and say, oh, isn't he brilliant? It's like the Emperor's New Clothes, dude. It's unbelievable. If you ever get a chance, read something by him.
I think I'll pass. I don't think I have enough time for that.
Oh, yeah, and get this. Joe Bite Me, our geezer in chief, he said that he pledged to make a pariah of the Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia for killing that Khashoggi guy, right, Philo?
Yeah?
What's his name? MBS, Mohammed bin Salman, or as some people call him, MBS, Mr. Bonesaw.
Something like that.
Well, it turns out that the Biden officials hosted his brother at a high-level visit on Tuesday. Okay, then. No problem. They didn't publicly disclose the visit, said Saudi Arabia's deputy defense minister in advance. Biden had pledged to make a pariah out of the kingdom's crown prince, the guy's brother. Oh, yeah. What does that say? Unbelievable. And here's one. They got a whole speech by this girl named Kaluma. What the hell is it? Kaluma something or other? A black girl. At the Juneteenth celebrations, a teenth. Because if you can't afford an 8-ball, you can always get a teenth, okay? That's how you got to remember that when you're buying crack.
Okay,
And-
last but not least.
And last but not least, she goes on in here about, no, you can't touch my hair. It's like every white person on the planet wants to touch your hair, Philo.
Can't touch this.
Yeah. Dun, 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 dun. Can't touch that. Dun, dun, dun. Unbelievable. Okay, last but not least. And this day in 1917, well, this was yesterday, in 1917, during World War I, Arab forces led by T.E. Lawrence and Auda Abu Tai captured the port of Aqaba from the Turks. And if you ever seen that movie, Lawrence of Arabia, Auda Abu Tai was played brilliantly by, what's his face? Oh, Christ, I can't remember his name now. Oh, man. Well, anyways, once again, you wasted a perfectly good hour of your life watching this stupid show. And hopefully, we'll see you again next week. Inshallah, God willing, creek don't rise. Until then, get down on your hands and knees in the men-only mosque, snip the bum of the guy in the man dress in front of you, head east towards the meteorite in Mecca, and pray, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Maggie.
Deus Magnus Est.
I think it's time to give ordinary people a tax break.
You said when people are waiting for relief.
I got them $1.9 trillion relief so far. They're going to be getting checks in the mail that are consequential. I wrote the bill on the environment.
Why would I not be for it?
Pay them more.
This is an employees bargaining chip now.